She had very much been brought back in from the cold. That is why now this will sting so much for her.
This is full disgrace and pretty much unprecedented as far as we can see.
Fergie's Epstein lies exposed in bombshell email.
The affairs of the royal family tells you that we are living in quite bizarre time.
But I think she's lost respect to British people.
The layers of duplicity and shallowness, this is a new low.
A collapsed business venture, over £1 million of taxpayer money vanished, and a charity that barely helped anyone. Sarah Ferguson finds herself at the centre of yet another scandal that's raising serious questions about her judgment and the company she keeps. The former Duchess of York, who's already been making headlines after losing her title and facing scrutiny over her connections to Jeffrey Epstein, is now linked to a tech startup that promised everything and delivered absolutely nothing. The company, Vavouch, managed to burn through approximately £9 million in funding, including more than £1 million in UK taxpayer money through research and development tax credits, without ever launching a single product. But here's where the story takes an even more intriguing turn. The man behind this failed venture, businessman Manuel Fernandez, isn't just any business associate. He's someone who's been romantically linked to Sarah Ferguson in the past, though she's always maintained they were simply good friends. Now, as creditors line up, hoping to recover their investments, Fernandez has reportedly left the UK, selling his £1.3 million North London home and relocating to Italy. The collapse of Vavouch reveals a pattern that's becoming disturbingly familiar in Sarah Ferguson's business dealings. Projects begin with grand promises and celebrity endorsements, attract significant investment, and then quietly implode, leaving behind unpaid bills and disappointed investors. But this time, the stakes are higher because taxpayer money was involved, and the scrutiny is more intense given her already damaged reputation.
Ever-evolving soap opera, that is, of course, what's happening over at Royal Lodge.
There is a no-holds-barred, warts-and-all tell-all story waiting to be shared with the world.
She needs to let this one play out, and she needs to quietly get on with whatever work she may have left.
She's hoping some sort of generous benefactor will take her in, but the thing is, that's been happening now for 30 years.
What's happened with Andrew losing his title and now her losing Duchess of York, it just proves that the York brand is totally toxic.
Is Fergie really finally clearing off?
According to administration documents, the app was supposed to connect people with shared interests. Think of it as a digital community platform where users could discover new hobbies and meet like-minded individuals. It sounds simple enough, but behind the scenes, the operation was falling apart. Teams were hired in London and India to develop the technology, but communication broke down completely between Fernandez and the development teams. Progress stalled when a contractor in India threatened legal action, and eventually, the money simply ran out. Sarah Ferguson wasn't running the day-to-day operations of Vavouch, but she was deeply involved as a public face of the company. She served as an ambassador, appeared at promotional events, and one of her own companies is now listed among the creditors, owed approximately £50,000. She also held a small 1% stake in the business, further tying her to its spectacular failure. The timing of this collapse couldn't be worse for Ferguson. She's already facing intense public scrutiny after emails from 2011 resurfaced showing her calling Jeffrey Epstein a supreme friend and apologizing to him for any criticism. Several charities and companies have since severed ties with her, removing her from ambassador roles and distancing themselves from any association.
Sarah Ferguson considers offers for a tell-all TV interview.
Lie low, keep quiet. It's not something that she does readily.
So damaging about this email is that it actually highlights the cynicism in which she's approached this.
She must have run out of people. She did run out of people because that's why she was tapping up Epstein all the time.
A six-figure sum on the table for a first chat after losing her title.
But the Vavouch scandal goes even deeper. The company had a sister charity that was once touted as an example of Sarah's philanthropic work. This charity is now 4 years overdue in filing its accounts, with the last available records from 2019 showing that despite bringing in more than £1.2 million in gross income, only about £18,000 was actually spent on charitable activities. The Charity Commission has now stepped in, confirming they believe the charity never carried out any real charitable work, and have begun the process of removing it from the register entirely. This isn't Sarah Ferguson's first financial disappointment in recent months either. Just last month, another company that had agreed to pay her £1.4 million for acting as a brand ambassador collapsed before fulfilling the contract. When you add the £40,000 to £50,000 she's owed from the Vavouch collapse, the financial losses are mounting at a time when she can least afford them. The administrators investigating Vavouch's collapse paint a picture of complete organizational chaos. Despite years of development and millions in funding, the company never managed to produce a working product. The breakdown in communication between Fernandez and the development teams was so severe that all progress ground to a halt. Former employees describe a company that was constantly pivoting, changing direction, and burning through cash without any clear vision or achievable goals. Fernandez himself is now accused of owing more than £324,000 to the firm, though he strongly denies taking any money out of the company. He maintains that all allegations against him will be disproven through legal proceedings, but his departure from the UK has raised eyebrows among those seeking answers about where all the money went.
And this is largely due to leaked emails that have come from Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, so she's going to be sort of pushed towards saying as much as she possibly can.
And there's the worry about security, that apparently she's very, very paranoid at the moment, and she thinks she'll be targeted, or maybe Andrew will be.
King Charles is battling with Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson to convince the Yorks to move out of the Royal Lodge.
Ex-wife and fellow resident Sarah Ferguson pours out her heart to staff at a secret bar called the Doghouse.
For those who've followed Sarah Ferguson's career over the decades, this latest scandal fits a sadly familiar pattern. From her divorce from Prince Andrew in the 1990s through various business ventures and personal scandals, there's been a recurring theme of initial glamour and optimism followed by financial problems, questionable partnerships, and controversies that overshadow any positive achievements. Her supporters argue that she's often taken advantage of by unscrupulous business partners who exploit her royal connections and trusting nature. Her critics, however, point out that she continues to make the same mistakes, aligning herself with the same types of people and ventures that have caused her problems in the past. The question becomes, at what point does bad luck become bad judgment? The implications of this latest scandal extend beyond just financial losses. Reports suggest that US television networks are willing to pay six-figure sums for a tell-all interview with Ferguson, potentially creating another headache for the royal family.
Sarah Ferguson, formerly the Duchess of York, of course, is considering offers for a tell-all TV interview.
A swift number of charities that came forward very quickly in a short amount of time to distance themselves from Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York.
Several charities have cut ties with Sarah Ferguson. This is because of an email she reportedly wrote to Jeffrey Epstein, calling him a supreme friend.
This six-figure fee will become seven figures, the juicier the gossip is.
Sources close to the situation have suggested that Ferguson believes it's her time to tell her story, especially after her ex-husband's disastrous television interview attempting to explain his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. The collapse of Vavouch and its associated charity also raises broader questions about due diligence and oversight when it comes to ventures that receive taxpayer funding. How did a company with no working product manage to secure over £1 million in government tax credits? What systems failed that allowed a charity to operate for years while spending less than 2% of its income on actual charitable activities? As the administrators continue their investigation and the Charity Commission completes its removal process, more details are likely to emerge about exactly how these ventures failed so spectacularly. The pattern of enthusiasm followed by collapse, of big promises followed by empty results, seems to follow Sarah Ferguson wherever she goes in the business world. What makes this situation particularly damaging is how it compounds her existing problems, already facing the loss of her royal title, the potential loss of Royal Lodge, and the ongoing fallout from the Epstein connections. This business failure adds another layer of controversy at the worst possible time. It reinforces perceptions about her judgment and her ability to choose trustworthy associates. The story of Vavouch serves as a cautionary tale about celebrity endorsements and the risks of lending one's name and reputation to business ventures without proper oversight.
It's good for her in a way because it's practical, it's discreet. She's also still within arm's reach of the royal machinery.
She doesn't have the protection of the royal family, and she's going to need to make money.
This is the worst look Fergie has ever had.
King Charles is very keen to move Andrew and his ex-wife Fergie on. He doesn't want them to live there anymore.
It's the loss of the privilege that goes along with a royal title. That's really the most significant one, is the loss of his home. So,
for Sarah Ferguson, it's another chapter in a long history of financial mishaps and poor decisions that have defined her post-royal life. As creditors wait to see if they'll recover any of their investments and investigators piece together exactly what went wrong, one thing is clear: Sarah Ferguson's reputation has taken another significant hit. Whether she can recover from this latest setback, or whether it becomes part of a pattern that defines her legacy, remains to be seen. The coming weeks will likely bring more revelations as the administration process continues, and potentially as Ferguson herself addresses the situation publicly. Will she take responsibility for her role in promoting a venture that cost taxpayers and investors millions? Will Manuel Fernandez return to the UK to face questions about his management of the company? And will this finally be the wake-up call that changes how Sarah Ferguson approaches business opportunities in the future? These are the questions that remain unanswered as yet another venture associated with the former Duchess of York crumbles into dust, leaving behind nothing but debt, disappointment, and damaged reputations. The pattern continues, the losses mount, and the questions about judgment and accountability grow louder with each passing scandal. That's it for today, folks. See you in the next video.